Alright. Oh, fuck. What the hell? I don't want annotations. Okay. The meta's pretty interesting. Like, a lot of people are gonna have very different takes on it right now, so I think that I think that trying to read into TL's perception of pick bans, it's only gonna be very surface level. Especially because the season is so early on, so. Banning Zach is probably ideal. This means Elise is gonna be busted. Holy shit, don't make so much noise. Okay, Zach, Lisa, and Gragas. I think that's pretty much all fine. I could maybe play this in X2. I first pick Elise, that's fine. If you want to play it super safe, then you could just respond support jungle here. I mean, there's a lot of different combos to respond with, all of which are support ADC, support jungle, ADC jungle. In very rare instances, would you respond with like top X? Okay, jungle support. Now CLG responds. The Rengar is interesting, by the way. He's definitely like a B+ jungler right now. He's like a B+, A-. It's nothing super fantastic. The Rakan is interesting. I personally think that Rakan is busted. I think that he is very similar to Bard in the respect that I don't think that he gets as much credit, or I don't think that he gets I don't think he gets as much credit for being a really good champion with a good kit as he deserves. And I think that really takes the players to make him shine. CLG responds with Shen Caitlyn. I think that's sort of pointless in a way, but it doesn't really matter. I think I mean that's an error in the draft. There's no reason to do that yet. Unless they're trying to bait a certain pick, but with the season being as early as it is, it doesn't make any sense. No matter how you look at that, that's an error. Team Liquid responds by picking top laner to match. And the problem is that there's still a lot of ADCs remaining. I mean, you can try to funnel them onto a very specific ADC. Team Liquid elects to begin banning away supports. I think that's probably ideal. With the amount of dive and engage that TL has, I feel like Xyrus needs to be a high priority. I haven't actually watched these games yet, or even seen the results. Although, I did see clips, but I don't remember the champions. Ashe gets banned away, that's standard. Okay, they ban Aurelion Soul. It's really unfortunate. And they're being forced to ban that. CLG shouldn't be able to first pick, I mean, if you're really proficient at it, see, this is the problem, is Aurelion Soul blind would be fine here, but I think in a theoretical world, it's not fine. Varus gets banned. Now TL's picking. Jhin, okay. It's really weird that you put Piglet on an ADC like that. One of the main reasons that I think that the Jhin Varus meta hurt Piglet in particular as much as it did is because they don't really enable his mechanics to flourish. And so I think picking Jhin is very, very bizarre. And I think that does speak to a level of trust in a certain extent with his teammates, or at least I would assume as such. The worry that I have, though, is that when you pick Jhin here, right, the amount of physical damage that you have coming out of your team is so peculiar. But it doesn't really matter so much if you're going to go with a hard-hitting AP mid laner. And depending on how you play the map, it's still going to be fine. Bard Ahri. It's pretty standard. Not standard, but I mean the team comp is well-rounded. It doesn't necessarily make it like strong or weak. And now Team Liquid goes with Orianna for the synergy. don't want to say TL's draft is bad, but I think that for who their players are, and also I think for the color, it's a little bit bad. Like, if I had to give it a grade, it's like a B. This isn't like, you know, a spectacular draft. Kind of Logic Gaming's draft is a draft that I hate. I hate drafts like that, because it's too all over the place, in my opinion. And if the game goes in one direction, I mean, it feels very one-dimensional, even if it looks like it's not one-dimensional. And the reason that it's one-dimensional is because of how proactively it was drafted. Like showing the Shen super early, and then following up with the last 2 picks of the Ari Bard, and handing over initiative to Team Liquid. I think it's very interesting, and the longer that the game goes on, let's say that CLG actually ends up falling behind, they're not going to have a way to match the split push of Shen, and then on top of that, they are reduced to a pick comp, which Rengar has some resistance to, and then as the game, you know, proceeds on, you know, you can factor in like anything. You can factor in QSS's, Banshees on Orianna, and there's a lot of stuff that you can entertain as a very real situation that could occur. And so CLG's team composition, if they fall behind, it just feels terrible. They have a lot of energy in the mid game, or not a lot of energy. Well, they have a lot of explosiveness in the mid game that they can make use of. And if they are ahead, then it can definitely be very oppressive. But I don't like team compositions like that necessarily. It depends. It comes down to the teams. All right. I don't know how much I'll draw, like on the screen or anything. Looks like everyone's just spreading. I think this is completely fine. Oh. Okay. Ah, shit. Hold on. Someone's saying I can't full screen this, it's against the terms of service. What? Hold on, let me just pause. What terms of service? I hope you don't think this game's live. Oh my god, I think he thinks the game's live. Never mind, I'm gonna resume. Okay. What, hold on. What? I was looking at Twitch chat. What the fuck's going on? What? The fuck's CLG doing? What? 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 Okay. Alright, well... Alright. The fuck is... Oh, Matt should have died. Oh, mud on. What is he even going for? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. The lane was pushing in. It was pushing in. I mean, I get that they're gonna get bullied or like zoned out, but Why do you go for a trade? That doesn't even make any sense. I mean, I guess technically you can sort of blame Piglet for getting snared in a way, right? Or you can view it from the perspective of like a good snare by Aframu. Matt should have always died 100%. That was a really, really poor attempt at an engage. Even if you get the nut, oh my god. All right, well, I mean, this is just chaotic as all hell. The fuck am I watching? What? What the fuck, brother? CLG? Yeah, let's watch this again. This is the knockup. Persists on with the trade. There's literally, I get what 6A is doing, but there wasn't a need. That was overkill. It doesn't matter. I mean, this never should have happened. Like, there should never be a universe where, like, Aframu goes that far forward just to throw the Q and then takes a turret shot. This is mechanically, like, horrendous. And then... Wait a minute, hold on. What? Why is he doing Gromp? They have no sums. Wait, he didn't need it for a level up, right? Oh. Never mind, sorry. He did. He needed Gromp for a level up. I didn't see that. Okay, this is just terrible. This is just, like, horrendous. Okay, we'll just go forward. He needed it for a level up. Okay, and then... I mean, everything that they've been doing is just terrible right here. CLG. Like, a lot of the things that they're going for. Thought Aqua's for Boots tier 1. They end up killing Lorlo. The thing that's interesting here is that Lorlo's neglecting, like he's letting it bounce back into him, but Rengar's transitioning onto the opposite side of the map and he doesn't have proper ward coverage. Like there's no reason to play the lane the way that he's playing it based on everything that's happened. Like based on the stuff that happened in bottom lane and how far ahead Piglet is, all that his goal should be right now is to not fucking die, and then it's all over. At the freeze frame that we got to see, right, like this right here, you can already see that this lane is coming into Lorlo, right? So Lorlo could have already probably recalled and, you know, given the first blood gold that he has, he can just come back to lane and then he can wait and he can be basically gank immune. He can pick up a control ward for himself, he can plant that inside of this, and then, you know, GoldenGlue can then plant a control ward on the left-hand side as well. Anytime that he gets, you know, push control over Ahri, when Rengar's within close proximity, you can get a control ward, and then you can shut down basically any attempt for Dardoch to go up to top lane. And then there's two ticking time bombs. You have the ADC that is completely snowballed out of control, and then you have the Fiora, which is ultimately a clock for your opponent. But I don't know why I don't know why Lolo's playing so far up. Immediately teleports back. Yes, the Tiamat. Rengar's continuing counter jungle. We don't need to really watch this again. Lolo's just misplaying his lane. Rengar goes back to his wraiths. I think that, for the most part, Reignover's pathing has been fine. Lolo's clearing out vision. Can't really see exactly what's going on in his lane. Reno's just continuing to farm up. I mean, they're the team with the luxury of the scaling, so this is all fine. I do think though that the double pink should be allocated to the left-hand side, not the right-hand side. Rainover's pathing down. GoldenGlue's fine. Okay, you get a ward. Hui heals up. Bottom lane's gonna recall. Clearing out vision as the support jungle. Oh man. Piglet staying in bottom. What? Oh, Jesus, the typing's so loud.
Is it loud?
Yeah. Hand off the blue to GoldenGlue. This is a very boring early game. I mean, apart from the chaos, I mean, you can't say that the chaos is fun. The chaos isn't fun. It's disgusting. Because it's just trying to do stuff for literally no reason and then getting rewarded off of mechanical errors and opponents like losing the situation, not really you winning it. So it's really bizarre. Really like what they're doing with the lane swap here. They're doing this to free up Fiora from the Shen matchup, and then because it's a elemental dragon, it's of basically no value. I like the way that they're coordinating it. It's completely fine because Rengar's also on the left-hand side of the map. I can't exactly see what... Okay. GoldenGlue has to hold down mid. Yeah, and now Rengar's over here. So they have the ability to 4-man dive top if top would stay. Darshan goes for a taunt, Rainover flashes, and now they're going to be able to get the first turret. And the reason that this is good is because bottom lane for red side is generally the lane where ideally you funnel gold to a primary carry early on because of the proximity to dragon. And what I mean by that is now that TL has the luxury of point A to point B to point C, this by nature for red color is a more defensive stance, and it enables you to funnel gold into a carry much safer than if they were to trade this turret for this turret, because now this to this to this is a more difficult angle to turtle and funnel resources because, again, proximity to the Drake. So all in all, Team Liquid actually benefits out a boatload from this handshake, and I think that it was executed fine. I don't think that there's any real gripe with it. Now, however, sending Piglet down to bottom, I think is bizarre. You can have him catch the wave, but alternatively, you could have just sent Piglet into mid lane with Matt at this point, because you want to put the Jhin in the mid lane. Put Jhin in mid lane, right? You put Jhin in mid lane, you have Orianna pick up the wave in top, and then you have Fiora go down to bottom, because the whole thing is about getting Fiora out of control. You don't need Jhin to be big. It doesn't change any of the dynamics. And also because it's an Ocean Drake, I mean, with Herald coming up, and because it's an Ocean Drake that you can basically neglect by having Jhin in mid or around the time that the enemy Mid laner would be ideally looking for a recall. It really applies a lot of pressure because then Jhin and his support can basically completely control all the vision around this rectangle, and there's nothing that they can do. So this is a misunderstanding of lane allocation. It's not the end of the universe, but it's definitely a problem. Because what it's going to end up doing is it's going to compromise GoldenGlue and it's going to compromise Lorlo. I don't know exactly who's making the call, so it's really difficult to say, like, you know, who is to blame for this. Also, I can't see the gold values of some of the champions. It's really stupid if they send Lorlo top. It's one of the most moronic things they could do. There's literally no reason to send Lorlo top lane. Nope. Okay, so whoever's shot calling this is to blame. These lane setups are abysmal. They're absolutely disgusting. They're not doing anything. They're actually slowing down the pressure that you could create with the accelerated Jhin, and it's actually compromising Jhin. Yes, Team Liquid doesn't really care about acceleration because they're the ones with superior scaling on their team, but it doesn't mean that there's not a reason to continue to play optimally relative to the current state of the game or the state of the board, if you want to use like a chess term or something. This is really stupid to have Lorlo even pushing in top lane, because what ends up happening is if you don't push in top lane and it comes up here, Shen can no longer go up here. Shen can't go down to bottom, and it forces them to funnel into mid lane at 11 minutes, and at this point, when your AD carry is as giga-fed as he is, and you want the split push to start commencing, and Dragon's on a real neutral objective, forces them into a spot on the map in which they don't want to be at currently. And when Rift Herald's a very real possibility, if they end up running out of fuel in mid lane because of the Jhin, the curtain call, the poke from Orianna, and you know whatever else it is that you want to have in mid lane, because this team, not yet does it really benefit from a stalemate siege scenario, right, where two teams are on both sides, and then you know you just go back and forth. What ends up happening is it creates pressure on the top half of the map because they have a dead lane. And when they have a dead lane, then you can synergize a push onto mid to control the left-hand side of the river and then ultimately convert that into a capture on Herald. But they're not doing that. This whole team fight's stupid. You don't want to team fight them. You want to make them enter into a stalemate in a siege scenario. You don't want to commit to the fight. But it doesn't matter. I mean, Jesus, doesn't matter at this point, I mean. Can't do anything. Now let's watch as they do another horrendous lane allocation. Yeah. Better send Jhin bot, because that's a lot of value. Whoever's shot calling, or whoever is making these calls, is the person to blame. Up until this point, there's been a lot of extremely elementary macro mistakes, and you know when I say it like that, it probably sounds really negative, but the reality of the situation is a lot of teams do this, including even some LCK teams. It's just elementary because it's stuff that has been able to be talked, or it's been able to be seen and talked about for years now, and yet teams are still doing it. You have to wonder why. There's no reason. There's no reason to go this ham. There's just no reason. They're the ones that benefit from scaling. CLG are the ones that actually want to team fight. They want to you know, have an even footing, or they want to get a lead. Because that's the only way that their team comp can stand up to TLs the longer that the game goes on. I mean, shit, fucking, well... See, I would offer to, like, you know, get GoldenGlue in here, but I don't think that's something I can really do, you know? Like, get him in a fucking call and we can talk about it and he can play devil's advocate. Or whatever. I just want to see if all this stuff is justified. Up until this point, I mean, I'm not seeing really, like, it comes down to the shot caller, right? Like, so far, I mean, yeah, GoldenGlue, maybe he's not, like, killing Hui or whatever, or getting some huge CS lead or doing some insane roams, but who cares? The real problem here is whoever's deciding on where champions are going and how they're transitioning their early into mid game. We've officially hit mid game about 2 minutes early, or about 2 to 3 minutes earlier than normal. Now CLG is up in top lane, and let's see how they play this out. And this is a bad way to play this out. So let's talk about this, okay? So they already know. They have an idea. All right, you see this wave down in bottom? Why eat it? Who cares? Who cares about the wave right now, right? Don't eat this wave. Don't push it back into them, because their Shen should have been in a dead lane for a few minutes, but you just can't get out of that solo queue mentality. So, you know, you need to keep shoving in that lane because, I mean, that's what fucking you do in solo queue, right? So here's the problem, right? Is Herald's on the map. Herald's a real possibility. We're 14 minutes into the game. CLG is going to make a play onto top turrets. And what's going to end up happening here is they're going to look to trade for these. They're going to look to go turret, right? Now, Team Liquid has a way to potentially respond because Rengar can transition into Gromp and into the right-hand side of the map and secure up vision control inside of the red side jungle, but it's ultimately irrelevant because this is not a very serious neutral objective to capture compared to that of Herald. Blue buff is also coming up for the opponents, which Team Liquid is fully aware of. And so now what ends up happening is if TL actually comes down and gets the turret and tries to trade into this turret, what ends up happening is it accelerates the side lanes way too much because now Shen is able to be really, really safe right around here. Now, if this happened around the 18 to, I don't know, 20-minute mark or so, it could be beneficial for Team Liquid, right? Because at that stage of the game, Fiora is probably almost at critical point. And what I mean by critical point is it's at a point where Shen it becomes increasingly more difficult for Shen to actually do anything to Fiora. And so the length of the lane is not beneficial. So what ends up happening here is when CLG is able to successfully trade 2 for 2, it bolsters their economy right now, which is hurting because, again, they have a heavy reliance on a mid-game spike. And they need to do something with the mid-game spike before the gold value of Team Liquid's inherent scaling just becomes too much. So right now, basically, what CLG is trying to do is they would rather take... Now, I don't know what the fuck these gold value... Like, I'm just going to write out, like, fictional or, like, numbers, right? Let's say that CLG has $1,000, okay? They want to fight at 2,000 versus 2,000, okay? Because the value, right, if you factor in, like, a currency exchange or something, it doesn't give them that much more of an edge, TL. Right? They have a little bit more ammo because like TL's 2000 is going to be like 2200. This is easier to overcome than if you go further up with the, the gold values or something, and now you do 10k, right? Versus it's going to be 10k, but then you add in the scaling dynamic of TL and the problem becomes increasingly more worse. Okay? And so what ends up happening is they want to fight the knife fight. They want to literally have a fight between knives and fucking forks and spoons and rocks than actually have a full-out like gunfight with fucking airplanes and shit. Because at that point, this team is too strong. So any scenario which can actually get CLG to that 2000 marker as fast as possible, even if it means that TL hits 2000, is advantageous for CLG. Because they need this marker to come. And it doesn't matter about the scaling in the 2000, right? For Team Liquid, because it's not enough value, right? So even though both teams have hit this gold faster than normal, all right? I'm like really just trying to hammer home the point here. It's better for CLG. Okay? So we're just establishing that. So now, that's why this macro play that CLG does is actually really good for them, because it puts Team Liquid in a really ugly spot. Now, the only way that it would not put Team Liquid in a really ugly spot is if the dynamics were a little bit different. And what I mean by that is if, for instance, you know, their top laner or their mid laner was a different champion and it changed the dynamics of the scaling or something like that. I don't know what I just said that was complex. I tried to like literally simplify it with basic numbers. Maybe I could have been a little bit more articulate with it, but I mean, I'm coming up with this stuff on the spot, and I'm just trying to describe to you the fucking images and stuff in my head in a way that people understand. It's sort of like why I stopped using analogies with like anime and cartoons and stuff, and I just use like weight loss and fucking currency now, because like you can't help but not understand it. And I mean, if you still can't understand that, then fucking, I don't even know, man. Maybe you're a flat earther. Alright, so let's go back to reviewing this. So now they don't even actually handshake the two turrets. So CLG now counter jungles their red side jungle. And again, all the vision that Team Liquid has in the red side jungle of CLG is completely irrelevant. And now CLG gets away with a Rift Herald. So whoever's making the macro calls is really to blame here. I mean, there's no way, you know, there's no way around it. Yeah, what Reignover does during the trade. I mean, we can go back and see. Right? Let's see. Well, why did, why does Matt and Reignover go into the red side jungle? Right? Why is GoldenGlue and Lorlo in mid? Why are they indecisive? Why is Lorlo being sent top? Why is Matt recalling where he is? Why does Reignover come and wait in the brush and then recall? Why did Reignover clear camps? You know, why didn't we just actually focus on the objectives? Like, there is a lot of different macro plays which Team Liquid could have done. I understand that they're the ones reacting to the play and that CLG is ultimately going to benefit the most from it. But instead of actually doing something, they sort of just like bent over and took it. And that's where the real problem is. So whoever's, you know, the one determining these lane assignments, that's the person to blame. Like, no matter how you want to say it, the shot caller, or, I mean, you could maybe say, I don't even know. You could maybe in a micro sense blame like Lorlo and GoldenGlue together there, right, for just not doing anything. And now TL's gonna group as 5 in mid after Herald's not there. And now they want to look for a team fight, even though CLG has captured Herald, completed items, and now CLG are the ones with the 2 side lanes shoving into them, which now they can comfortably allocate the resources to wherever they need it at this point in time. And TL doesn't actually have the firepower to threaten the stalemate that would have otherwise granted them a neutral objective, control of an entire lane. So TL could have been playing 3 lanes while CLG forcefully can only play 2. And now at this point, I mean, this is literally insanity that you keep having Lorlo top lane. I literally feel like I'm looking at a fucking solo Q Tryndamere trying to elo boost his way out of silver. Someone tell the fucking Rain Man to get out of the game. Like, all right, like we don't only go top lane here. CLG actually looks at their minimap. What the fuck? No, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Oh shit. Oh fuck, no. I didn't mean it. Holy shit. Oh, man. What the fuck? The green elephant. Oh shit, Rain Man's revenge. Alright. So now CLG is going to pick up an opportunistic Drake. That's sort of just something that they have to do. It benefits CLG a lot more than it benefits Team Liquid to pick up like useless dragons, because they're the ones that are going to need, in theory, they're going to need a Elder Drake to secure the game. Holy shit. Why is the scaling team the one forcing plays? I mean, they mechanically misplay. Where were you clicking? Oh yeah, the block, but like, why are you so far away? Why didn't you flash sooner? What? I mean, it's a mechanical outplay. Like, see, this stuff, it's not like, I feel like an asshole or something would like pause this and go frame by frame. But like, this is not the major problem that Team Liquid's having. Well, in a micro sense, right? Lorlo did fuck up. Like, that was a very clearly visible fuck up, right? That is not what's making them lose this game. Could that have changed a lot of things? Well, yeah, Stand United's down, pressure up in top lane. They'd probably end up actually getting the turret. But it doesn't matter. That's an isolated scenario that if you were to play this game out, the same exact game 100 different times, how many times does that situation actually occur? So if we use that type of logic, then we can assume that there is a lot other, or that there is more concerning things at play that need to be fixed and have attention brought to them. I feel like this is one of those instances where someone that they try to review a game, they're like, well, you see here, if Lorlo just, you know, if he played this out a little bit mechanically better, TL would have definitely been in a good spot. And I'm fucking sitting here like, yeah, can we go back 10 minutes and prevent all of this garbage from ever happening? Like, holy fuck, get me a time machine. Like, there's so many people that are obsessed with fixing problems rather than preventing them. It's the weirdest thing in the world to me. Alright. So, I mean, TL are still even on gold. And they're the ones with superior scaling, but the game is at a point where CLG is likely to be their strongest. And so this is actually a stage of the game where Team Liquid is sort of like an airplane in flight, and CLG is the turbulence. You know, all they have to do is not get brought down by it, and, you know, it's lights out. They're the ones with the ticking time bomb. I don't like the Herald usage here. The mid turret was guaranteed anyway. You were getting it on this wave regardless. You didn't need to cast the Herald. It's a waste of a Herald. You get mid tier too, but that doesn't really matter. Like, they open up this dive, but this isn't because of CLG. This is because of TL. So who's shot calling here to not say, oh, give up the turret? So literally, let me give you the plain example, right? You're in turbulence or something, and all that you have to do is stabilize like that. The calls here should be give it up, give it up, give it up. That should have been the calls. You're not going to lose the fucking game over 100 gold being put on every single member. You're just not. The mid lane turret, due to the dynamic of TL's team composition and how effectively they can turtle their red side jungle relative to the proximity of mid lane, means that this turret holds absolutely no value. Now, if it was this turret, this is a little bit different, but again, it doesn't matter because Shen can't actually contest Fiora the longer the game goes. If it was this turret, then again, the same dynamic applies. Why do you care about this lane? You're never actually going to lose the game through top lane. That is an unrealistic scenario, which would maybe occur in less than 5% of games, like in these specific team compositions. And again, it would only be off the back of a Baron. So it makes absolutely no sense. Whoever's shot calling this is the culprit here. Like, why did Matt engage? I don't know what they're doing. Like, now CLG is taking this a little bit too far. No, no, no. Look, Bomluffa. Look. You can't view... No, look. Look. See? This is... No. No, no, no. They shouldn't have dove if TL knows what they're doing. Okay, do you see how that works? If TL's a better team, the dive never happens because TL's not in a position to get dove. Maybe that doesn't make sense to you. The Herald getting mid-tier 1 is irrelevant because they would have captured it anyway. The Herald getting mid-tier 2 is also irrelevant because it's not an objective that is going to enable them to win the game simply off capturing it. It doesn't matter about the temporary boost to gold in this scenario because they've already hit critical point in the game where their team composition is stronger than their opponents. Now all that they need to do is control proper vision control around the left-hand side of the jungle and somehow bait Team Liquid into a fight or use another upcoming dragon if it's an important one to try to bait a fight there because Fiora has not yet hit the scaling point where Shen can't resist her. No, it wasn't a good Herald, and I don't give a shit that they got benefit out of it. That is a result-based logic. I don't care. Okay, saying that he had to use Herald because the time was running out, that's not an excuse. Then you should have used it earlier, or you could have placed it somewhere else. No, I don't care if it's expiring soon. Then you rewind and you look at where did the problem start, and then you prevent it from ever happening. That's the smart thing to do. Alright, now they have Jhin up in top lane, and this is actually fine. Having Jhin up in top, allocating gold into him there is better than putting him in bot or mid at this point of the game. If you did not have an opportunity to use it and you have to, fuck off, man. Well, I didn't say that they never had an opportunity. We could rewind, but that's not the most important thing because we're viewing this from the standpoint of Team Liquid. And we are not viewing this to look at, you know, what happens if CLG uses the Herald like this. Well, we are and we aren't. You're taking things really out of context. And you don't understand. I just explained why the Herald was irrelevant. I just explained it. I said that the objective, the first turret was going to go down without Herald. The second turret was irrelevant, and I said use it instead to manipulate a lane. Now, I guess that we don't speak English here, but that is actually what I said. Your inability to comprehend that is not my problem. I'll tell you where you can use something else, though. You can use the discount code TEMPO at tempostorm.com to get 10% off on TempoStorm products at checkout. All right, let's go back. I couldn't speak. Fuck me, dude. I need a salt shaker. Alright. So Shen's in bottom lane, and you can see Fiora's not really yet at the point where she can resist. Or not resist, but contest. Not in the way that, you know, we expect her to. Now, why is GoldenGlue this far up? Why is the scaling team looking to capture a tier 1 turret or get 200 damage on it? The world may never know. It's the center of a Tootsie Pop. They go 1-for-1. It's not the end of the world. But why Team Liquid is here is absolutely beyond me. They already have more than enough established vision control on the left-hand side of the map. And they didn't need to be here. And now they get caught out. Whoever is deciding what... See, the real problem here is I don't think TL actually knows what their team comp does beyond the surface level. So, like, if we're talking about, like, the fucking, like, the trench or something, right? Like, the, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? TL, like, so here's the surface level. This is the pick ban. This is basically the point. Actually, no, it's probably actually above it inside of a fucking helicopter or something. This is the point up here in the helicopter, right, before the pick ban happens, that the public understands where the pick ban goes. This is the surface level of the draft, and TL probably understands it a little bit below this, right? Maybe certain individual members understand more about it, but they don't understand it enough, especially relevant again, or it doesn't seem so anyway. And I mean, this is a weird thing to, you know, say or whatever, but they don't seem to understand it enough to know exactly what they should be doing relative to what their opponents want to do. And then sort of just juggle between those two decisions or those two thought processes and then come to a decision on your own based on the current state of the map. So now TL end up giving up mid inhibitor, and this is exactly what CLG needs. I mean, I'm not really seeing anything that GoldenGlue is. I'm not like looking at this game and being like, oh yeah, man, GoldenGlue. Like, you can look at this and be like, huh, why is GoldenGlue here? Maybe it's not him. Like, you could probably say that, like, maybe, you know, like a better mid laner or something. You could make the argument that, yeah, maybe they go farm rates. This isn't GoldenGlue. This isn't his fault. Like, it's GoldenGlue. This isn't GoldenGlue's fault, okay? We've seen stuff like this happening for the last 14 minutes, okay? TL doesn't know what to do on the map. They don't know how to play the map. They don't know what their composition is good at, apparently. I mean, they probably know what it's good at, but they probably don't factor in what is the enemy composition good at, and then they come to a decision, you know, on like, well, that means that we can get away with this, or we can do this, and, you know, yada, yada, yada. That's a Romeo Juliet. That's not Zaya, though, so fucking Adam and Steve, not Adam and Eve. If you're down in bottom lane, they have to give this up anyway. Lolo's backing off. Now it's Ocean Drake. No one cares. Although CLG, obviously... CLG, because they're the ones that are in control to get the Baron, they actually do care about it, because then it bolsters the effectiveness of Baron sieges, especially with the Caitlyn. So they definitely do want to pick that up. If that was like Clown Drake or something, they could basically ignore it. At any Drake, except for Clown Drake, CLG would definitely want to pick up. So we're going to have Dardoch solo it. CLG rotates down to bottom, so they're not showing a desire to get the Baron, and they want to pull Team Liquid away from it. Now, CLG is ahead in gold, and they're ahead that... So I really want to draw attention here to the fact that Team Liquid, the middle inhibitor being down only matters if they lose a team fight. That's literally it. It does not actually apply pressure in itself. It just, you know, and just by being down, it doesn't really change the dynamic of like what TL is supposed to be doing. Now, let's talk about this. Okay, so we have Lorlo fixing bottom lane with teleport, right? We have that going on. We have Jin's curtain call. You have a blue trinket up. CLG cannot start the Baron. Better contest a control ward. That seems like a great idea. Yeah, let's teleport in Lorlo, so if we lose the fight, we lose the game. Yeah, okay. Good. Do they lose off this? I think they lose. Yeah, they lose, right? Yeah, they lose. Caitlyn has red buff. Curtain call, Shen block. Yeah, they lose. There's no way. That was a... Huh? Come on. Come on! What are you doing, Stixay? Alright. Yeah, alright, good. Alright, so that was game one. Verdict. Is GoldenGlue to blame? Absolutely fucking not. Alright, let's go into game number two.